for our GRIT program here at College Depot. So as many and all of you might know, GRIT is our program here that we have focusing on working with seniors closely and guiding you all through your senior year and getting all of those college planning steps done. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started and get gritting ready for your senior year. Alrighty, so let's kind of go through the breakdown of what we will be discussing for today. So we kind of have two parts to our session. So the first part is we're going to be discussing what is expected of you during your senior year, what's to come. So I'm going to go through some of your TOEFL timelines, understanding transcripts, information on testing, important dates and deadlines, how to set up your college plan and financial aid. And we will also be discussing on our second part how to set you guys all up for that future independence. So we're going to be talking about some things such as mindfulness, time management, and saving and budgeting. Alrighty, so as we begin, let's go ahead and get started by first congratulating all of you on being part of GRIT class of 2022. So this is an incredibly exciting year for all of you. This is your senior year, the closing chapter of such a great time in your lives. And as we work with you all during your senior year to help prepare you for college, we wanted to go over some norms that we have here as part of our GRIT team and to be able to cooperate and work with each other. So some of the norms that we had come up with is we would hope, and this goes the same for student as well as advisor. So we want to be committed, we want to be responsible, prepared, being responsive, making sure we put in that effort, having clear communication, making sure that you as students advocate for yourself. If there's something going on, you're having an issue or just want to talk some things through with your advisor, go ahead and speak up about it. Those conversations can be had, and we are here to have those with you. And also be respectful of your time and your advisor's time. This is a pretty big one for all of us. Of course, you all are high school seniors, so this is a busy year for you. You've got a lot going on, not just juggling high school life, but you're also getting preparation to go into this next chapter of your life. So making sure you're responsible of your time, but also being aware of your advisor's time. So, being aware of your advisor's office hours, getting to know their schedule a little bit more. Us as advisors, we're here and we would love to help you 24/7, all day, every day, but we do have our own lives as well. So we wouldn't necessarily love if, you called us at 3 in the morning, you're like, hey, I really need help with this, like scholarship. Let's be mindful of those things, have some respect, and we will also try to do the same. And you can also talk to your GRIT advisor as you guys are getting to know each other and building those connections within each other to talk about some norms that you might have together. So you guys can kind of come up with what's your plan as you work together as a team moving forward. Alrighty, and let's go ahead. Alrighty, so as we begin, let's start to take kind of a broader look at what your senior year is going to entail. So this is getting a timeline on your senior year. So right now we have approached the fall semester. So right now, a lot of what's going on is your academics and activities. You guys just recently entered into this new semester. I know there's been a lot of different changes for all of you. Some of you are back on campus for the first time in over a year. So readapting, getting used to the flow of things, that takes some time in any school semester. This one probably a little bit more than most. So, just getting acclimated to what that school life and environment is. There's also going to be testing coming up. If you haven't already taken those ACT or SATs, that's something that might start popping up. And then FAFSA. FAFSA opens October 1st of this year. That's a big one. That's our financial aid. So we'll talk more about that later in the presentation. Then our winter starts creeping up on us, and that's when we get transcripts and application confirmations. We also do work with scholarships and continuing that all throughout the year. And moving forward into your senior year, in your spring semester, we'll be looking at those financial aid packages and acceptance letters. That's when all of those, you've made it into ASU or you've made it into UCLA. All of that information will start popping up during the spring. Then decision date is May 1st. That's when you will officially decide what school you're planning to attend if you haven't done early decision or anything like that. And then finally, it kind of all comes to an end and we hit summer. Final transcripts are in. We get prepared for the new fall semester, that college semester, with registering for classes, moving into campus if that's something that you're doing, or getting all your materials and supplies ready and set for the semester. Alrighty. Now, moving into your transcript. So some of you might already know what your transcript is, what it looks like, how it works, but not everybody might be super familiar with that. So let's get into this. So your transcript, what is that? Your transcript is essentially a map of your 4 years in high school. It kind of gives you an at a glance breakdown of all of the courses that you've taken, the grades that you've earned, and your GPA. So it has all of that information listed. And some of you might be asking if you've ever heard what's the difference between official and unofficial transcripts. Well, your official transcripts are going to be the transcript that your college or university gets directly from your high school. So that one won't be given by you, it'll be given by your school. Your unofficial transcript, however, is a transcript that can be given directly to students. So many times you can go up to your front office or meet with your counselor and ask them to give you a copy of your unofficial transcripts. Sometimes your schools might have them on your online student portal and they can be printed as a copy. All right, so you might be asking yourself, what is a transcript? What is it for? Where does it come in handy? So you'll mainly be using your transcript for your college applications. They want to make sure that all of the information on your transcript hasn't been changed. You'll talk to your school counselor to find out how to then officially send your transcript over to the college. When doing your college applications, some schools might have the option to allow you to self-report your grades. So using your transcript to do that is really, really helpful because it can speed up the admissions process for you and get to your acceptance letter in a little bit sooner. You might also use your transcript for some scholarships or internships or jobs that might require a copy of one. Scholarships, you'll see that a lot more, asking them to submit a copy of your transcript along with the other necessary requirements. Okay, now moving forward, we have testing. So some of you may have already taken the ACT or SAT or both. But why is it important? So your ACT and SAT are tests that they're college entrance exams that help the schools distinguish students on a more academic level, and it also appears on the college admissions process. So there are merit scholarships that can be awarded based on the scores you earned on the ACT or SAT. If you've taken the PSAT, that exam can qualify students for a special scholarship and program such as a national merit scholarship. So you can check in with your school if you had the PSAT done. Moving forward. So breaking down the two exams. So the ACT. So the ACT is American College Test that was developed by a professor in the University of Iowa, and it was first administered back in 1959. So the ACT exam is different from the SAT. The ACT is divided into English, math, reading, science sections. Each section is worth 25% of the total score. It is similar to the SAT with raw scores that are converted into a scale, but for the ACT, the scale composite score is between 1 and 36 points. So what is on the ACT? So for your English, production of writing, knowledge of language, conventions of standard English, includes 5 essays or passages, 75 questions, 45 minutes. The next section is for math. It's preparing for higher math entry level college math, numbers and quantities, algebra, functions, geometry, statistics, and probability. Integrating essential skills, applying your understanding to solve more complex problems, 60 questions, 60 minutes, and you can use a calculator for the entire math section. Now for the reading, key ideas and details, craft and structure, integration of knowledge and ideas, 40 questions, 45 minutes, science, and the interpretation of data, scientific investigation, evaluations of models, inferences and experimental results. Content is drawn from biology, chemistry, earth, space, science, and physics. And advanced knowledge is not necessary. There's 40 questions for 30 minutes. And again, the whole exam is based off of that 1 to 36 total scale. And moving forward. So you take the written test only if your college or university requires it, and you can always check to see if that is one of the requirements for the ECT from the school by calling the college or university. And so why spend more time and take the test that isn't necessary? So you have the option to choose. So for the ACT, $60, ACT plus the writing is $85. You administer after you complete the 4 main ACT sections. There are fee waivers or programs that can cover the costs for these exams, so you can always check with your school to see if that is the case. And then the format, so 40-minute tests, prompt which describes the complex issue and 3 different perspectives, write an essay developing your own perspective, and it'll be scored by 2 well-trained qualified readers on the standard basis of interpretation and a narrative included. Okay. And then how do we register for the ACT? So the ACT exam, again, is $60 without the optional essay and $85 with the essay. Most schools now offer the ACT on campus during a designated testing day in April for juniors. For seniors, the testing date might change. You can check with your school. Students with free or reduced lunch can qualify for up to 2 free exams for both the SAT and ACT. You can see your school's counseling office to obtain a fee waiver, and you can register online on the act.org website. And these are the remaining 2021 test dates and test dates for 2022. So as you can take a look and see, we still have, there's an opening in September, October, December. Then in February, April, June, and July, they have the testing dates for next year. Lists regular deadlines, late deadlines, and you can also find all of this information on their website. And if you need assistance with registering or anything like that, you can always feel free to ask your grade advisor for assistance. Okay, now the SAT. So what is the SAT? So according to the College Board, the SAT is focused on the skills and knowledge at heart of education. It measures what you will learn in high school and what you'll need to succeed in college and career training. It assesses how well you analyze and solve problems. Optional SAT subject tests are required by some colleges, and you can check with the college of your choice on its subject test policies. So what is on the SAT? So evidence-based reading and writing. This test is scored differently than the ACT. You'll do a reading section of 52 questions for 65 minutes, writing and language section, 44 questions for 35 minutes, and a sentence completion, vocabulary, reading, comprehension, inferring meaning from passages, and then mathematics, math test, no calculator, 20 questions, 25 minutes, math test with a calculator, 38 questions, 55 minutes, numbers and operations, algebra, geometry, data analysis. Total score is based off of a 400 to 1600 scale, and there's also optional writing test. Okay, and how do you register for the SAT? The exam fee is $55. You can register online at collegeboard.com. Students with free or reduced lunch, again, can qualify for up to 2 free exams for both SAT and ACT. You can see your school's counseling office to obtain a fee waiver. And then again, here are the 2021 and 2022 SAT administration dates and deadlines, and you can also find all of this information on the College Board site. Alrighty, moving on. So GRIT students, setting up your college plan. Let's go ahead and get started. So as we look into college and post-secondary education, there are a lot of different paths somebody might take. Keeping in mind that not every type of school or degree or career track is for everyone. Everybody ranges from all different types of education options. So let's go ahead and get started to see what some of those options will look like. So first we have your colleges. There you go. So we have our colleges, which are your smaller or private liberal colleges, and can include public community colleges. So here in Arizona, we have the Maricopa Community Colleges, or some out-of-state colleges. You also have your universities, which are your larger public universities, private out-of-state universities as well. You also have some for-profit schools, some of that you might have heard of, such as DeVry, Carrington, University of Phoenix. And there's also all different types of programs and careers. So you can get a certificate or a vocational program, your associates, your bachelor's, your master's, or a doctoral program. Some students might not choose to go to a college or university, but may be interested in pursuing education in a more hands-on type of learning environment. So what can that be called? Those are apprenticeships. So apprenticeships are programs that allow students to immediately earn wages while they also get that hands-on training while pursuing their degree. Apprenticeship programs are growing beyond the traditional manufacturing and construction industries and can now be seen and pursued in the health careers, information technology, transportation industries. Some people have also seen that into cosmetology. The Arizona Department of Economic Security lists the registered apprenticeships on their site. And then when you graduate from a career training program, you'll be certified and can take your certification anywhere in the U.S. And Gateway Community College actually offers several certificate programs. All right. And as we search for colleges, we want to be mindful of quite a few things when looking at what next year might possibly look like for you. So when researching schools, we want to consider you as a student. What do you like? What do you not like? What are you comfortable with? Some of those things that can, make you feel one way or the other can be things like your school size. Are you comfortable with a large, almost city-like school environment, or would you be more comfortable with something smaller, more home-like? Maybe Some schools have certain majors or programs that other schools don't. That might be something to consider as well. The location of the school can also really impact a student's decision. If the school is out of state somewhere where maybe it snows for most of the year, or maybe you're here in Arizona and it's hot most of the year. Maybe you're tired of being in the desert and you want to go try something new, go for a different feel, new weather, new environment, or maybe new weather, new environment isn't for you and you want to stay home here in the desert. So taking into consideration a lot of these different things, cost of attendance, what does the student body look like? Those are all great things to take into consideration because you're essentially setting yourself up for your future home. This school will, be your next place of education for the next 4+ years. So you want to make sure you pick some place that you're going to be comfortable and that you feel like you will be the most successful in. And you can check out some of those websites to help you kind of start narrowing down that search if you haven't done so already. Alrighty. And once you've kind of come up with a list of schools that you're interested in, you've kind of narrowed down which ones are the schools that you're pretty sure you don't want to go to and which ones you just are dying to apply to, you've just are set on these schools. To make this process also helpful, you might want to categorize your schools. So we have 3 different categories that you'll want to apply 1 to 2 schools in each category. So first we have your safety match schools. So these are your schools where your academic credentials fall below the school's average for freshmen, and you can be fairly positive that you'll be admitted into your safety school. You meet all the basic requirements and you aren't concerned that admissions wouldn't be possible for you. The next type of school that we have is your match. So these are the schools where your academic credentials fall within the school's range of average freshmen, and it wouldn't be unreasonable to be accepted into several of your match schools. This might look like possibly maybe in-state universities. Maybe you've met all of the requirement for your in-state universities. Those might be a match. Maybe your safeties could be community college schools. Now, when we're thinking about reach, those are where your academic credentials fall below the school's range for average freshmen. Seems kind of like a long shot, but it is still a possibility. Now, if your GPA was a 2.8 and you were planning to go to USC, maybe that wouldn't be so much of a reach school. But let's say you have a 3.0, 3.8 GPA and the average is a 4.0. You are still within that range. It's still a possibility. We can still write killer essays, scholarships, all of that stuff, but it does take a little bit more work to be able to reach that school. So those are some categories that we will be focusing on when looking through your schools. Now, as we get prepared to start applying to these colleges, we'll want to stay organized. That's probably our best tool here, is just being organized. So again, creating that list of schools to apply to and researching what are those application requirements that are going to come with it. So many schools are a part of the Common App, so that can be helpful. Knowing that is also very helpful when getting ready to apply to these. You don't want to apply to a ton of different applications when you can focus it down on doing the Common App, getting good majority of your schools in, and then just having to fulfill those extra requirements that come afterwards. But again, they might have special elements to those applications that you'll still want to watch out for. So just completing the common application won't ensure that you've applied securely to all of your schools. They might still have other requirements that we will have to get through. You'll want to create a calendar of all of your important dates and deadlines. When are those application deadlines for your colleges and universities, scholarship applications, financial aid application deadlines, all of that. We'll want to make sure we stay on top of it so we don't miss a deadline. Creating a folder with any award letters, your transcripts, letters of recommendation, all of that is super helpful. So you just know where to go to, grab those copies, boom, have it ready and set for when you need it. Making copies of all of these items, super helpful too. Dating them, keeping them all in a secure spot. And then using or creating a professional email address. As you guys all finish up your senior year, if you have those email addresses that are linked with your school, those will be discharged after you graduate. So you'll need to be able to provide something that your college and university will be able to reach you personally with. Then application process. If you're applying early to community colleges and universities, different deadlines all over. Sending your official transcripts to the universities. They will be requesting that. So again, you'll want to become familiar with that, your school's transcript process. And then submitting personal statements and letters of recommendation. Okay, now moving forward. So speaking on personal statements and essays, so many applications that are both college applications and scholarships will or might require a personal statement and or essay. So specific prompts may differ, but there are common topics. These common topics include your background, your educational and your future career goals, why you would like to attend this college or university, what unique qualities would you bring to the program of your choice, and how will your time in this school affect your future? And most personal statements will have a maximum word count or page length, so you want to make sure you meet those requirements as well. Letters of recommendations are another form that can be required on either your college applications or scholarships. So for your letters of recommendation, you'll want to ask your recommenders at least a month in advance. Whoever it is that you may ask can become pretty busy. When thinking about who you might ask to write you this letter of recommendation, it could be some of your teachers, could be coaches, counselors, could be a mentor, could be one of us here at College Depot, could be your grant advisor. But keeping that in mind, everybody's busy. We have jobs here. We have other duties here that we need to make sure we get done. So making sure you stay on top of it, you're responsible, and are allowing a timely manner for your recommender to be able to write this letter for you and then get it back to you. So that way you don't miss any deadlines. Your recommender doesn't feel bad for falling behind or not being able to get it to you in time. So just making sure we're mindful of those time restraints that could pop up. And you'll also want to possibly ask a variety of different people who can not only give you different letters of recommendations, but can also provide different perspectives on you as a person, as a student, and of all of your achievements. And then clearly identify those deadlines again and send appropriate reminders so nobody misses out on those deadlines. Awesome. Now, when talking about exploring majors and careers, you don't always have to know right away what's the best major, what the best career is for you. Many times it takes some of us, if not all of us, 1, 2, 3 tries, if not more, to see kind of where it is that we fit. And sometimes you just won't know right off the bat. Sometimes it takes experience, getting internships, volunteer opportunities, getting professional work experience to be able to see what career options are there out there that you might possibly be interested in. But since right now you guys are in high school, you have kind of a lot of things up ahead of you, some things to help kind of ease you into thinking about different majors and careers are some of these helpful links that we have here. So College Board has a big future with majors and careers that students can explore and look into. There are also 2 self-assessments students can take. They're like mini quizzes in which you answer questions based off of a variety of different things and get kind of a little synopsis of what different majors or careers might be interesting for you to explore. There might be majors and careers you might have never considered or even thought of existed. So doing something like this can help kind of get those gears working and start thinking about, long term, what could be my potential future in a career. So here we go. Alrighty. Now, moving forward, we're going to talk about financial aid. So I know this is something that can be pretty scary for all of us, thinking about college, university, how am I going to pay for this? What is financial aid? Where can I find it? How can I get it? So let's talk about it. Okay, so there's different types of financial aid. So first, we're going to talk about government funding. So the FAFSA. So you fill out the FAFSA, which is the free application for federal student aid to qualify for the following: grants up to $6,000 a year. The price changes yearly, so could vary. Work study is another option, and of course, loans. So the FAFSA. So when applying for the FAFSA, it will be FAFSA.gov, not FAFSA.com. If you're not sure, always double check, ask as many times as you need to. But for your FAFSA, what will you need? You'll need your social security number or alien ID number if applicable, taxes if you filed, W-2s if you worked but didn't file taxes, and the list of schools that you're interested in attending. What your parents will need: they'll need their social security numbers if they have them. If your parents do not have a social security number, that is okay. Your parents don't need a social for the FAFSA. And the taxes that they filed for that year. So for this upcoming school year, if I'm not wrong, Chris or Diana can correct me, but they will be the 2020 federal income taxes that were filed. So you'll use those for the FAFSA, and it will open up on October 1st of this year. We'll have lots of opportunities to help you all complete your FAFSAs. And in order to create your FSAID, you can visit fsaid.ed.gov to do so. Okay. And then government grants. So grants are gifts, gift assistance that do not need to be paid back. So it is free money given to you. You don't have to pay it back, of course, obviously. You don't want to get yourself in trouble with anything. Pass your classes, take your credits, you'll be good. And then grants are based on student financial needs as determined by the FAFSA. So Pell Grants, state grants, and federal supplemental education opportunity grants for students with exceptional financial needs. Now, work study. So work study is money earned while you are in school. So you are a student and you are also working on campus, typically on campus or fairly close to campus. So students must have financial need and must be enrolled in at least half-time. And work study jobs are arranged by this school. So if you're determined to be eligible for work study, your school will assist you in letting you know what what jobs your campus offers and how you can begin the process to become a work study student. Alrighty, loans. So I know, not the most fun thing to talk about, not super exciting. If you've heard loans before, then you're probably freaking out on the inside and thinking they're the worst thing in the world. Yes, they're not great. But to be realistic and to be honest, they're there for a reason, right? So if we need them, we can use them. So loans is money that is borrowed by the student or parent and must be repaid. The amount of loan funding available is determined by the school year that the student is in, the total cost of attendance, and the student's financial need. Everyone who files a FAFSA will be eligible for loans. Like I said, you don't need to take out loans, but if you need to, they are there. That is a conversation that can happen independently with every student's situation. So if you're interested in having that conversation, we can always do that with you and try to find the best option for everybody. So let's go ahead and move forward. So we also have institutional financial aid. So financial aid packages will be composed of quite a few things. So your scholarships and grants that the college is based on the following. Could be your GPA academically from the classes that you've taken in high school, your ACT or SAT test score, financial need-based on the FAFSA, athletics, community service, academics, interests. All of these are forms of financial aid that your institution can award you. And most colleges and universities have a financial aid section on their website. So you can check the links to see our in-state universities financial aid section. And you can also do research on other schools and universities that you're interested in to see what their financial aid options are for you. Now, here's the fun stuff, scholarships. So scholarships are free money for college. You do not need to repay scholarship money back, and they can be awarded on a variety of different criteria. And where do we find scholarships? So scholarships can be awarded through a variety of different outlets. So your college and university on their website, they can have a scholarship page for their entire school. You can also check out individual colleges within your school to see what scholarship opportunities they might have to offer for students. You can also check out different search engines, such as some of the ones we have listed here, such as College Greenlight, Unigo, Scholarship Owl, or you can visit our College Depot website to visit our scholarship page, where we have a variety of different categories and search filters that you can go through to help narrow down your search. Right now, you can look at scholarships specifically for high school students, open now. You can look at monthly deadlines. And if you weren't aware already, College Depot has their own YouTube page where we promote monthly scholarships. And yeah, we're currently in the process of getting September's scholarship video out. So take a look, keep an eye out for that. We'll have it out shortly, but they're super fun and exciting. And of course, we bring to you all of these new scholarships that are featured that could be amazing opportunities for you all moving forward. So just a little tidbit on that. Follow us on YouTube. Alrighty, moving forward from that. Let's see. Alrighty. Now, scholarships are also available for our DACA and Dreamers students. So if you are not familiar, DACA Dreamers students are undocumented students, and the possibility to find funding for a DACA or Dreamer student is possible, and we are here to help and work with you. And we have different search engines that we use here at the depot to help us with that. And some of them have already started popping up with their upcoming deadlines. So the Dream US application, that opens up November 1st of 2021 this year. Scholarships A through Z have resources and scholarships as well. The Hispanic Scholarship Fund for U.S. citizen and DACA recipients, the application reopens in January of next year, 2022. The Arizona Community Foundation, Their application reopens January as well as 2022. And then Aliento has general resources available. Alrighty, and we are coming close to an end to our Greeting Ready for Senior Year presentation. But this last part that we are going to share with you is kind of not so much college focused with all of these other little parts. They're more for you as a student, and helping you set yourself up for that future independence that is to come. So let's kind of get into this and see what topics we have. So one of the first things we talk about on the topic of financial aid is, for you personally, how to start budgeting and saving as you move forward past your senior year into college. Let's say you move out of state, you're out of the nest, out of home, on your own, living on your own, somewhere completely new and different. That can be pretty scary, when you think about it, having to think of, oh my God, I have to be an adult now, having to pay for things by myself, all of that. Or maybe you're living still in state, but maybe you're out in NAU or you're at U of A, or maybe you're just living in Tempe, you're just not at home. But even that can come with some of those little financial stressors. So how do we work to budget and save that can not only help us for college and university, but can be a lifelong skill that will help us now to the end of our days? So if you're working a part-time job, maybe open up a savings account and dedicate, let's say, every 2 weeks, I'm going to save $20 or X amount of dollars, just to start getting you in the habit and routine of saving and preparing for, maybe an unexpected financial need that you might come up. Maybe it's a book you need to buy or tuition money potentially. You might also want to set up a monthly expense sheet. So as you start thinking about moving out or living on campus, what might those expenses start to look like? You can start drafting, kind of an idea. It doesn't have to be set in stone. This is exactly how much you're going to be spending for college, but it can start to give you a good head start look at what the future will bring. You can also start by looking at some of the alternatives that might become helpful to you when you've moved on to college or university. So when you're in school, what are some more money saving worthy options, like renting or buying cheap or used textbooks, or looking for job opportunities that offer you educational benefits? For example, some of you might have heard that working at Starbucks, they cover the tuition for online students, or Target, they have benefits for their employees, or AmeriCorps. AmeriCorps is a national service program that allows its members to serve while receiving a stipend and also getting an educational award at the end of their service. There are also programs such as one as a New Leafs program. Their new program that they have is Assets to Opportunity, which is a program, match savings program. So students can attend any accredited community college, university, or trade school in Arizona. And you can find out more information on their match savings program on their website. And you can even ask your grit advisor to help you with that as well. But it's an amazing program to help teach students how to start saving and budgeting while also giving back to the students and assisting them with that saving to save a higher end goal for school. So those are some opportunities we have. Now, thinking about school and our potential futures that lie, we'll want to make sure that we have some time management as we prepare now, even just in high school. You want to make sure that you're not biting off more than you can chew. You know, you have classes, if you have a job, if you're involved in extracurricular activities, how much are you giving yourself to all of that? You know, you want to be able to prioritize what's important to you, what is most beneficial to you, or what you need to get done right here, right now. So just something to think about. You want to be able to find that balance. So how do we find that balance? You want to carefully plan your classes and your work schedule. When preparing for college or university, this is something that's going to become really, really important. So if you already have some experience, maybe working a part-time job now, you may be, a little bit more comfortable managing the two. But if you've never worked while being in high school and you plan on getting a job once you've graduated, you want to start thinking about some of those things. When you set up your class schedule, what days and times are your classes? What days and times will you be able to work, or what days won't you be able to work? How much time are you willing to give for work? Thinking about how many hours a week is, your job going to take. On top of that, how many hours a week do you have to allot for school? Taking all of those into consideration so you're not one way over the other. And then communication is a big thing with finding that balance. You'll want to talk with your counselor or your employer to help you balance out your class schedule or your work schedule, and know that it's always okay to ask for help when needed. You are a human. Life gets complicated, so it's good to ask for help, and being able to receive that help to finding that balance can be a real game changer. All right. And again, staying organized, keeping a planner. It's my favorite tool for sure. Helps you keep track of important dates, when's your vacation time's coming up, your next day off, those finals, keeping track of your homework, your class, or your work schedule. Plan ahead. You'll want to, keep in mind what are those final weeks going to look like, making sure you giving yourself enough time to be able to study, not having anything come up or in between important dates. A good tool to help you with that is looking at your syllabus. So if you're not familiar with what a syllabus is, it's kind of your course outline for the year. Kind of shows you in detail what is expected from the student, what the course is going to bring to the table for the class, etc. So that will help you keep in mind when those assignments are due, when finals might be, to help you stay on top of all of that. In order to help you stay organized, it might be very helpful to help designate a study space for you to help you optimize your learning, to maybe cut down on some of that procrastination so you can really get in the zone, finish your homework, get that studying done, everything that you need to do in order to have a successful semester and school year. Ready? And of course, you want to be dedicated. So make time for your homework. Get ahead on those assignments when you can. Once you've gotten all caught up, start on the next lesson. Do things for yourself that will help reduce the stress in the future. You'll also want to be responsible. That means you might have to make sacrifices sometimes. Might mean that when your friends say, hey, let's go out to this party or let's go to this concert, but you have that essay due that night at 11:59 p.m. So you might have to make those sacrifices, but just know it'll all be worth it in the end. Don't fall into the money trap. You're in college, you'll make money soon. And remember what your long-term goals are. So, and if you ever need any assistance with that, helping you stay grounded, we are here. You can always come to us, your advisors, for advice. We're here to help you. Some of us have already done this back and forth, or some of us are going through it. So we're here to help you in any way that we can. Awesome. And then know when to take a break. Don't burn yourself out. Make sure you make time for yourself. Take those moments to just breathe and relax. And make sure you take care of yourself. Take care of your mental health. Make sure you're eating, sleeping, staying hydrated. There's plenty of on-campus resources that are available to students to help with all of this. And also make sure to spend some time doing what you like. You know, it's not always all work and no play. You want to make sure you have some time to do things that you find fun and then you enjoy. Awesome. And then something I'd like to talk to you all about is mindfulness. So some of you might have heard what mindfulness is, or some of you might not know what mindfulness is at all. Well, just a quick little definition. Mindfulness is the basic human ability to be fully present and aware of where you are and what's going on and not being overly reacted or overwhelmed by what's going on around us. So sometimes it can be really difficult to be mindful, or it can be even hard to be aware of how to be mindful. You know, when you're going through your day, you're busy, you've got school, you've got practice in the afternoon, you got to go home and write those essays. You know, your days are go, 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 go. But you also have to make sure you take some time to be mindful and remind yourself of where you are, what you're doing in the present moment. So, how can you practice some mindfulness on your own now? You can find a quiet space, find a comfortable position where you can take a seat. You can start by setting a time limit and start small. You don't have to overly commit to anything. I know there's plenty of great resources out there, YouTube videos. You can take 10 to 20 minutes to meditate, do all that, but you don't have to do all of that. Start small. You can do 3 to 5 minutes, something easy. And just close your eyes and just breathe and just focus on your breath. And remind yourself that when your mind wanders and goes and starts to think about everything that's stressful or kind of random, just focus back on your breath and just breathe. And this is a really great tool to use when you kind of feel all up in that anxiety. There's so much going on. You kind of feel lost. Just bring yourself back in the present moment. Take some deep breaths and just know your surroundings and know where you're at. Help bring kind of that calming peaceness back into you when things can feel a little crazy. Yep. Right. Also, mental health awareness. So, mental health. I'm sure some, if not all of you, have probably already had experience with mental health or the conversation of mental health. I personally think mental health is a huge thing, especially for students. You right now are high school seniors, and let's not joke ourselves. Last year was crazy, and I know so many of you had to endure being at home, virtual, having to do that for the first time in your life. Let's just say last year wasn't the most amazing year for all of us. And that could have brought up a lot of mental health issues for some. And we want to keep in mind that mental health doesn't discriminate against race, age, sex, gender, socioeconomic status, anything. Mental health can happen to anybody. And most mental health disorders are mostly experienced by college students. And those common mental health disorders are depression, anxiety, substance abuse. So let's not kid ourselves. Life is hard, but you don't have to deal with or struggle with any of that alone. Remember, it is okay to not be okay. I know it can sound a little cliche, but it is true. If you're struggling with your mental health, it's far from easy, and it's okay to reach out and ask for help. Remember, you're not alone, and it can be easy to go to someone you trust. You know, you can confide in a family member, a friend, a teacher, or mentor, or go to a professional and seek the help that you need in order to make sure that you are well and healthy in every way possible, so you can also set yourself up for future success. Alrighty. And with that being said, you also want to make sure that you self-care. So I know sometimes when we talk about self-care, people think that it's going to the spa, getting mani-pedis, super fun, super cool. Don't get me wrong. I think that's amazing. I love that. That is self-care. But it doesn't have to be mani-pedis. Self-care is described as a conscious act one takes in order to promote their own physical, mental, and emotional health. And self-care can take many different forms. Self-care can range from making sure that you're getting enough sleep and that you're getting enough nutrients in your body in order to make sure that you have the energy to get up and keep going the next day. Self-care can be, taking a break and saying, I'm going to take 15 to 20 minutes to just, read a book, or maybe go play with your puppies or your cat or your pets, or maybe it's stepping outside, just getting fresh breath air, being in the sun, going for a walk. So self-care can be many different things, just as long as you're taking care of you. Awesome. Continuing with self-care. So we also want to make sure we make time for self-care, because we can say that we're doing things for self-care, but it can be different from actually doing it. So it's good to prioritize self-care, knowing when you need that break so you don't burn yourself out. A good thing with that is knowing your limits. What's your class schedule? How many credits are you taking? Knowing how much you can handle with that, with school and your work schedule, how many extracurriculars you're involved with, your home and your social life. So when considering when to make time for self-care or what might be helpful to you in doing self-care, you can ask yourself, what are kind of some main points of stress that you deal with, and what things are helpful to you or might you like to try that could be helpful to help relieve some of that stress that you could try to do for self-care. Righty. And then getting connected. So we have some hotline numbers here for in case anybody ever needs it. We have the National 24 Crisis Hotlines, National Suicide Prevention Hotline, or National Substance Use and Disorder Issues. You can also check your campus resources to see what resources they offer in terms of mental health or counseling services. And you can also check out some really great apps that are free. BetterHelp is an online counseling app, Talkspace Therapy and Counseling, Headspace Meditation and Sleep, and Oak Meditation and Breathing. All wonderful tools to help you all get more in touch with your mental health, be more mindful, and have those tools and resources that you need when you need to ask for help, because we all need it sometimes. And that is the conclusion to our Grading Ready for Senior Year presentation. If anybody has any questions, comments, feel free to leave that in the chat, or you can go ahead and unmute yourself and we can have a conversation. So, but other than that, thank you so much, all of you, for being here, for being so attentive to the presentation. I absolutely loved and enjoyed being here with all of you today. So if you have any questions, please feel free. We will be here. We'll hang on for a few moments. And yeah, Chris, you can let me know if there's anything else.
No, that is it. Thank you so much, Emily. And I echo Emily's comments about just how much we appreciate everybody being a part of this a part of this session. It really means a lot to us. This is actually the first time we've ever done this. And it's almost like a snapshot of every workshop that we do throughout the year in one presentation. So I hope you all were able to gain some information. I imagine it's a lot. So yeah, we're here to continue to support you throughout your entire senior year with all of these things. We don't expect anybody to remember or memorize all of this kind of stuff. It's really just like getting you exposed to these different areas, and then your grit advisor will is there for you and will be there for you throughout your entire senior year to support you with all of these things. So it is a lot of information, but I think if you could tell from the vibe and the tone of Emily, as she kind of talked through everything like that, you're not expected to, don't stress out or freak out. If you're like, oh my God, there's no way I can remember all of this stuff. That's fine. We just wanted to kind of just get that initial, information out there for you all. And I do have to, again, apologize in the chat a couple times, but it looks like we have a few of our students here who have participated today who have not heard from their grid advisor. So that hurts. I do apologize. So we'll follow up. We do have well over 200 students who have enrolled, and so genuinely apologize that you haven't been able to talk to your advisor. Got your information, so we'll definitely pull up your enrollment form. I did look and I saw everybody did submit their enrollment form. So we'll kind of see what happens. Maybe it's just. Yeah, I'm not sure. We'll figure it out, but I do apologize. And you will hear from somebody soon, and they'll be able to help you with all these things. So thank you. If you have any friends or family members, anybody that you know who is enrolled in GRIT, it wasn't able to participate today, we are hosting this session again this Saturday at 10 o'clock. So make sure you let them know so they can participate and get in on this gritting ready for senior year action. So yeah, we'll just hang out for a few more minutes. I'll stop recording right now. So if there are any questions, we're a pretty small